Hello, hello, YouTube, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Timberborn Z, where things are looking amazing. Like, it doesn't aesthetically, it looks awful. Okay, don't get me wrong. I could spend some time going through, tearing apart each and every one of these districts, making things work better. I probably should do that, but that requires thought that's rational. And well, I've never claimed to be a rational human being. Okay, I'm a guy who plays with beavers on YouTube, and well, you can take that how you will. So, I was thinking, we finished yesterday's episode. We finished everything up, and I was playing a little bit more, doing a little bit of the cleanup afterwards, making sure that things were in the right place, making sure things were running appropriately. I was thinking about expanding over here, getting some more trees going, which I probably will end up doing. But I thought, you know what? Why not see where we can get on one of our first mega projects. So I think today we'll see that. We're gonna break ground, if you will, on the mega power project over here. That'll probably turn into this project down here. It'll probably become moot. None of this power will go forward at any point after this, but that should not be a problem, because we're going to build this up, we're going to run it this way, and we're going to have all the power in the world. That should not be a problem ever again. And that means all of this will no longer be covered in bad water. It means none of this over here will be covered in bad water until we get a bad tide. So we can't really do too much down here in the way of making it green, but we can definitely do something to mitigate some of this runoff, if you will, and then increase our overall throughput of power, right? And that's what we want in the end. We want to maximize our power efficiency, power growth, power development, so that we can spread that power wherever we need it. So that's going to include coming over here and providing power for all of our iron teeth in the future when we do get Metaltopia built. And then that will also feed into all these systems over here, so everything should be good. That being said, we are nearing the end of our drought, our nice 27-day drought, so that's going to be great. It means all of this can get refilled, and as you can tell, it looks like the water levels are pretty good, pretty stable, pretty consistent. Now, it helps that our entire water system is full, minus like 700 plus little bits of units of water. That kind of helps because they're not actively flowing from this at all hours of the day. And it also helps that we have this pushing water up and through here and recycling it, so it's constantly moving, which allegedly helps prevent some of that evaporation. So that's good. That's great. Now, that being said, I'm going to hit this 3 times speed. We're going to get things running, and we're going to start maneuvering some of our beavers over here, moving some of the beavers out of this hauling post that I put them in last episode and putting them back into some builders. And we're going to start prepping the groundwork over here. And then we're going to do a speed up montage. We're going to get things running. You guys can watch me build this thing from the ground up, and then we can watch it all come to fruition, hopefully. But just so we're on the same page here, we're gonna come out here, and I'm thinking it will be a wall about right here. And the game is loving me right now. A wall right about here, and it'll go that way, and it'll be a stair step down on this side, and then the bad water will fall off the edge over here. Now we'll still have bad water available over here. This is still going. This is providing power, so that's still going to be helpful. for everything right now. It just means in the future, this side will have to be reliant on an addition or a separate source of power, which we anticipated anyway in the future. So this stuff was going to be temporary, and we're going to have to maneuver some of these things off of that line right there so that we can lift that up and then push that this way. We are going to have to find a way to get around this side for these guys to work or continue tearing into this, and the same thing with this. That may turn into us just flipping that around. I'm not sure yet. And then we're going to have to figure out what to do with this stuff. Probably just going to tear that out and then remove that top layer there, which will be our treated planks. And just move that over. That won't be too egregious. But that being the case, let's get things started. That means getting some beavers over here and tearing some of these logs out. Oh, and I figured out why I was running out of logs. We have 5,200 planks. They were converting all of our logs into planks. That's why we were running out. And the same thing with gears. So it makes sense as to why we were running out. So I'm not upset by this. We are going to get it rectified. It is slowly getting fixed. We have all of these places now producing oaks, which in turn produces more in the way of lumber, so we can keep up with the demand. And by the time that we get to the point where we can actually start putting in all of the water wheels, we should be back up to the amount of logs that we're going to need. That being said, we are going to take advantage of the trees that we do have here because, well, it's free lumber that I don't want to lose, right? So we'll get some bots over here, we'll get them to clean all that up, and then we'll start laying all the dirt. Now, this is going to tear into my computer. I am expecting this wholeheartedly because, well, that's what happens when you do these massive builds. So bear with me as we get these things moving. So that means we need to get over there, and that means getting up there properly, which means doing this, pulling the stairs up, and we'll get that way. And down this side, and then down over here, and then bada bing. Then that needs a path here, path here, path here, path over here, and this way. We do have bots coming out, so that's happening. That's helpful, so we won't have to remove as many of the haulers as I thought we would. So that's good. That'll be rather helpful, actually, so I'm not too upset by this in that way. Let's see here. We need to go here and there so we can get up this. Now, is this about where we want to start? So, let's see. It's going to be 4 wide, 5 wide. So we need... Oh, hold the phone. Let's go over here. We'll build something. We'll build up a mock-up real quick. So, that's not how we want to do that. We're going to flip this that way. Okay, and then we want this like that. That's not how we want that at all. So it does need to be 6 wide. If we do double wide, which should work just fine. Something like that. Something like this. And so it's going to have to be 7 wide. So 7 wide, and then it's going to have a drop. And then we're going to need a way for power to transfer up. Now, if we do something like this, and this is like, well, I don't want to do that because that's going to cause a problem. So let's think rationally about this, guys. We're going to think rationally about this. Since the last build that we did was with the folktails who didn't have this equipment. So that's what we need there. So that shouldn't be a problem. And then we're going to have to put one more line right here to allow for our transfer up into the next system, right? I think that's how that's going to have to work. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least 8 deep. Get that accomplished. Okay. And then we want a bunch of those going down. Yes, please. Delete. That shouldn't be a problem. And probably we may not have to go as high as I think. Unless we want to have an additional, which shouldn't be, well, how? That's 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 drops right there. We may not have to go high at all. We could just cap this side off and let it all flow out this way. That might actually be the best answer. Maybe go up 1 higher over here and then fill all this in with dirt and then let it flow off the edge. I think I like that idea. We'll see. That's gonna require getting over here. They're gonna have to come over here, and don't know why I didn't automatically replace you guys with bots. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, Rhodey. You're fired. Okay, this is down. Need to make sure that this is down. So that's up. That's gonna work just fine in this side as well. While we just make sure that we're not messing anything up for our lovely tempered cycle. Okay, so that's in. Now we need to come over here. We need to get up here too. Probably get somebody to come help you guys serve those logs, or else nothing's gonna happen. We need to get down here somehow, which shouldn't be that hard. Yeah. That. Like that. Give me the path, please. Thank you. Pull that over here, and then that should just be 1 stairwell here. And then boom, boom, and then we'll get up here and we'll tear this out. And we'll get up here and tear this out. So I'm going to let future me narrate everything as things progress, and this will be the part where you guys get to enjoy the dulcet sounds of future me. So I will catch you all on the backside. Well, hello there, past me. It's future me, or future me, or future me of the future me. We're going through this, and I want to say, past me, you left me a steaming pile of poop to work with here. Okay, I don't know what you thought I was gonna do with all of this commentary or all of this time to work with here. You do realize that, well, past me, who's doing all of the editing, or did all the editing, to then get ready for this voiceover for all of the things, left future me, current me, all sorts flustered and not knowing what to say about all this. Well, I'm gonna try my best, so stay with me here. Well, my God, was this quite the mess. This entire build, from start to finish, was absolutely insane. One, the size and the starting point was absolutely terrible. I should not have started this build here. I know in the end it's got to look fantastic, but if I had, taken advantage of maybe, say, the terrace and started just blowing all that up and just filling in a couple layers of dirt here and there, probably would have been a better idea. But you know what? When you gotta build big, you gotta build big. And well, darn it, we built big. And here you can tell that I am trying my best to figure out how all this goes down. Now, of course, pre-planning and planning and getting everything situated where you think it's supposed to be going, well, nothing survives first contact ever. You'll see me going back through a couple times, realizing, oh no, I done foobarred that. Oh no, that's all food. That's not where that's supposed to go. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands anymore. I think I did my best to try to clean a good portion of that up, so you guys get the finished product as opposed to everything that I messed up here. Of course, beavers get stuck, which is always my favorite thing to do or deal with this entire build, is beavers getting stuck all over the place. But that's besides the point. I won't spend too much time belaboring that point in about the fact that I had to rescue beavers like 40 kajillion times this entire playthrough. But no, I'm pretty happy with how in totality, I guess, that this turned out as well as it did. I walked in with an idea of a plan and how I wanted it to go. Obviously, you saw it before the time lapse kicked off. You know, the small scale ideas to how things are supposed to look, and then once I started looking at the workspace that I'm going to be playing with, I realized that there were some things I didn't need to do. I didn't need to go nearly as high. I didn't need to go nearly as far out. And you'll see here in a little bit. I mean, by a little bit, I mean like a super little bit. I'm gonna realize I didn't pull the entire system far back, so I can't actually get the final loop in that I wanted. But that's fine. That's fine. It didn't hurt anything in the end. It actually provided a good amount of power. Probably going to end up doing the other half in the future. I don't know if that's going to be an actual video or not. Probably do that just to get that finished, because I'm not too thrilled with the overall amount of power being provided by the system. I never did actually check how well the system is doing after it all settled out, but I'm pretty sure it's not to the measure or the level that I want it to be. But that's okay. You know, if this was an attempt at a build to try to confirm that my ideas about how power and water movement made sense. Here's one of those situations. I cannot speak the English language, where things didn't go quite where I wanted them to go. That'll happen more times. It's at this point that I'm getting frustrated with the game, though, because the system had basically stalled out or came to a complete standstill any time that I wanted to actually interact with the environment. Placing dirt blocks, it was a chore. Placing anything was a chore. Getting paths in, it's like I don't want to do that. And I was fighting it the entire time, which was not fun, but it's okay. Pause here or there to make modifications to the build, just so that the game isn't trying to do all the computations in the background while you're placing things. That seemed to help out a lot. So that's a lesson observed, I guess. Let's see here. One thing that I really would like to see in the future from the devs is, and I've belabored this point before, is a way to differentiate different levels. It's really hard when everything is the same hue, same tone, to tell which height anything is, and you've got to manipulate a lot in order to ensure that you're not going too high or too low, creating valleys or hot spots, high spots, if you will. That will actually come to bite me in the butt here in a little bit. You'll see that I created one level a little bit too high and then one level a little bit too low, and I'm not entirely blaming that on the game, but I think it would have helped had I been able to see like a huge difference between things. But that's okay. Of course, filling in more dirt, loads of dirt. Again, I really should have put this somewhere else. So I didn't have to do all of this, and I could have just done dynamite. Dynamite would have been a lot faster, and then if I accidentally hit something or blew up an area, it would have been a lot simpler to just fill in the onesie twosie portions of the build with some dirt as opposed to trying to fill in an entire side of a cliff with dirt. So that's a lesson observed. And it's at this point during the playthrough that I burned through all 5,000 units of dirt, and became painfully obvious that you done messed up, AA Ron. You need more dirt. And extract, of course, that needs to go in with all of the dirt in order to facilitate the production of the dirt. So that was fun. Coming to that realization at the very beginning of the build. At least I caught it at the beginning of the build this time, as opposed to the late in game, like I did during the Folktale playthrough. So I'll call that a win. You know, not yelling at the clouds like, "Where's all my dirt?" Like, well, you had 5,000 units, and you tried to build an entire platform or terrace yourself, Goober. Where do you think it ran off to? So it's I'm happy that I learned at least one of the lessons from my last major build. At least one. Can't say I learned all the lessons from the last build, but we learned something. You should recognize the precipitous fall in your materials a little sooner than the last second, so that you can plan accordingly and make sure that you get more dirt in position. You know that. Yeah. Of course, more extractors, dirt extractors, needed at this point because, well, 2 or 4 weren't keeping up with it, so why not throw in an additional 2? A lot of this mess that I created back here, I'm not looking forward to the cleanup purposes, because this is still future me, not future me, who's actually gone through and recorded another episode of Timberborn yet. So all of this mess still exists, and it still needs to be cleaned up and dealt with appropriately, so that all of it isn't just hanging about all loosey-goosey all over the map. and causing problems aesthetically, and causing problems in other ways. It's fine. It's fine. Things will turn out okay in the end, hopefully. A guy could hope, right? A guy who's played nearly 500 hours of this game should be able to figure a little something out, right? Maybe? Not entirely sure. Probably not. Probably not. So here we are trying to rescue even more beavers that decided to run around and get themselves sucked because they thought, oh, you know what? Let's give this dirt pile the old college. I'm not entirely sure what the heck they were trying to do. I know exactly what they were trying to do. Oh, hey, look, quick access to a few extra points of dirt. So we can come down here, we can walk around, and then, oh, realize at the last second, yeah, they're putting dirt in behind me and get stuck. So that's gonna be the essentially this entire build is just beavers being goobers and getting themselves stuck. Not the entire build. I shouldn't sell the beavers or myself short. I tried my best to try to mitigate that. Why you don't see me doing too much in the way of trying to get them moving beyond their capabilities, trying to keep them building above and building from above so they can't get themselves stuck. It doesn't always help. They'd run down, and on some of the little tiered systems, they'd find a way to find themselves in a position where their access point is blocked or something along those lines. But it was fun to try to prevent that to the best of my ability. I will say it was pretty interesting to see once things were moving again how quickly everything went in. When I was watching it real time, it felt like it was taking years to accomplish anything. But when you look at the scale of the entire build as a whole, just the amount of dirt that was required to maneuver, the amount of materials to create the dirt, so going from the bad water to the extract to the dirt, and then the amount of maneuvering of all those materials back and forth, it's actually quite astounding how fast they were able to keep up with the demand. A few minutes ago in the playthrough, or at least through the time lapse, we were down to 5 pieces of dirt, right? And then you get a few extractors in, and boom, already pushing to the point where it's over 500, and then it drops back down to 60 to 70, and then a few seconds later, it's like, oh, all of the BioBeaver haulers are back up and running. So now all of the extractors are going again, hardcore. And you got dirt coming out the wazoo, as Kibitz would say, right? So that was actually pretty cool. Well, I guess I should say, knowing that you set up the industry in a way that is actually going to facilitate a build like this, like you couldn't just drop this build on any system and expect it to occur. The fact that I could focus so well on this build as opposed to doing too much in the way of just micromanaging in the background. Yes, I cut out the small bit that I had to do, so going and refilling the mangrove plot, or going and manipulating the water gates in order to, or floodgates to make sure that the bad tide didn't roll through. Yeah, that was required, but I didn't have to go check on their water 9 kajillion times. I didn't have to go check on their food production or make sure that the the logistics train between the three districts weren't stopped up somehow, because everything was working so well in the background. So I'm pretty happy with the fact that the system that we had developed as a whole was actually doing really well. So I could sit back for about 5.5, 6 hours of gameplay and just focus solely on making sure that dirt is moving, and that my plan for the entire water chute, if you will, or the bad water chute, was actually going where I want it to go. And did that mean that the plan went swimmingly? No, I probably could have put in more extractors, or excavators. I keep calling them extractors, excavators. I could have put in more. That would have helped with getting some more dirt out. Now, you could see that there isn't a full complement of builders running around with dirt right now. So there are a few probably sat on their bums back there in their little house with nothing to do, because, well, there's not enough dirt to keep up with their demand to go and lay the dirt. But it's okay. The preponderance of the workforce was actively doing something, and thankfully it wasn't hauling material everywhere. The only thing that they had to do was worry about getting it from the storage containers, which were right there, to the actual build, which wasn't that far. One thing that I should have done a bit sooner, or had established a little faster in this build, was a bunch of places for grease, to actually ensure that they had grease readily available, and probably bolstered that entire system as well. You'll see towards the end of this time lapse that, well, grease had essentially reached a standstill, because all of the extract was being used for dirt. So I probably should have put in a few more centrifuges to produce more extract, so that the grease manufacturing could keep going, and of course making sure that the grease was going to the right places. Right, I did put in a singular point for them to restock on their grease, but that wasn't absolutely the best. It never stayed at a consistent level, so that the iron bots could maintain the peak efficiency, if you will, for building purposes. So that's something that I need to keep in my mind going forward when I'm talking about these next big builds, is making sure that the logistics for everything else that needs to be in for the system is readily available. Now, here in a second, I'll come to realize that I had made an uh-oh as far as the dirt placement when I start trying to measure things out. Start putting in the actual water wheels, the power wheels. Large water wheels, that's what they're called, thank you me. So that was mildly annoying. Figure out that you'd placed a bunch of dirt that wasn't where it was supposed to be. But, you know, it's a lesson observed. You see where you messed up, and then you make the adjustments as needed. Thankfully, that we've got the ability to fix those problems that you create for yourself. And it wasn't that hard of a fix to do. You know, throw in some dynamite, realize that you didn't make one additional line that was needed there to support the actual power wheels or water wheels, or didn't have a point of contact for your high powered shafts, so that power can get transferred between the layers. And you'll see, like right now, you can look, there's not much in the way of, or there's a missing port for four of the rows right there, 3 of the rows right there. You done messed up, Ron. You messed up. Well, that's an easy fix. Just throw out a little piece of dynamite and everything's fine. But on the build note here, this portion totally could have been alleviated just by building on a different side of the map, on a terrace that was actually this deep, as opposed to just trying to fill in this entire piece of the map with more dirt. Does it prove that these guys are awesome and can do these huge builds like this? Yes. Does it prove that I was a goober and I should have done something somewhere else? Also, yes. This is where I get pretty happy. Like, we're, I think, about 4 or 5 hours into the build at this point. Like, yay! I can start putting in all of the water wheels, right? It means we're getting close to being done. I can focus on other things. All the builders who are sat in their bums doing nothing right now can come and do something productive. So that was pretty exciting. And then the realization that, oh no, I messed up. But it's okay. See, just throw in a little extra dirt, throw in a few extra pieces of dynamite. It'll be okay. Nothing too cosmic, nothing too painful to fix. Okay. I will say I was not anticipating the massive draw on the science system either. I thought I'd had paused enough of the control towers to not lose as much science as we did. I think we started at 61,000. We're down to 44,000 at this point, and I hadn't been spending it on anything other than just letting the control towers work in the background. And obviously, I added 5 for this build right here just to cover down all of the work areas so that they could work at as peak efficiency as possible. But that put us in a precarious spot with the overall science. And here we are, coming to the realization that you done messed up another portion of your planning here. You didn't give enough room for facilitating the last line. Like, okay, well, that stinks. But it's okay. I feel like, what is it, 3 total pieces of a power system should be fine. Shouldn't be too egregious. It should provide enough power for our system as a whole, so I didn't feel like I was going to lose out on too much. Yes, I'm going to lose out on a potential like 2,000 horsepower, maybe 4,000 horsepower, but in the end, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze, and especially when you consider the fact that I plan on duplicating this entire build. I'm gonna mirror this build on the other side. I don't think that we're gonna miss out. And maybe in the future I'll somehow finagle this build into the terrace itself with some explosives. Some explosives as opposed to just throwing in a bunch of dirt and creating this entire power slide. So I think that'll be good. I think that'll be fine. I will say this is my most annoying part of this build, was coming over to Badwater Hill and trying to finagle the bad water to the actual system itself. I totally didn't fully plan that out too well. I went into it kind of without an appropriate plan. Just did it haphazardly, which is why it's going to look like it is going to look like, and that's on me. I can't blame anyone other than myself for making a terrible system. It works, don't get me wrong. Like, it works, but I should have been able to build it a lot faster, and I probably could have made it a lot cleaner of a system than what I do end up with. First off, I built it too high. Second off, it doesn't fit really well aesthetically with the hill, Badwater Hill as a whole. There's not much I can do with that. You know, the Badwaters or the Badwater ports or outlets are where they're at. There's not much you can do to finagle that in any other way other than just like making this huge reservoir over there of bad water, which may be something that I end up doing in the future, with like a port inbound for the mine after all the scrap metal's torn out. But this right here really irked me, like how much of this entire industry basically got torn out, and not well. Just basically just ripped off the band-aid and just started throwing dirt down. Again, it works, but it doesn't work the best. And maybe I'll spend some time getting in there, doing something to make it work better. Maybe it doesn't need to be as wide as it currently is. Probably do like a single line all the way over, and then have that expand where it needs to expand. Because I used a lot of dirt here, probably unnecessarily. I shouldn't say a lot. I used a decent amount of dirt, a little unnecessarily. And of course, I really need to be conscientious of my arrow placement, if you will, during this entire build right here. That's not how you do things efficiently. Here's where I realized, I should probably do something like this because I'm going into another district and I don't really have the means to, logistically speaking, get over there and do something to help out with. So I was like, okay, I'll flip the arrows and do something to help out. But it wasn't enough. Because this very small portion of the build took way too long, which annoyed me a lot. Like, this should not be taking this long because it's nowhere near as much dirt as the rest of the system. And of course, it didn't help that I didn't give enough touch points for them to get around. I tried to alleviate that by putting in a bunch of platforms around the edges, or around the outskirts, to allow for them to have as many points of ingress as possible to get in there and put the dirt in. But even then, it still didn't meet the requirements. It got done in the end. That's technically what matters, but it could have gone a lot faster, which is my main point of contention. That's what I don't like, is it not getting done efficiently. One, because it was an extra 30 minutes of my time that I could have been using somewhere else. 30 minutes of the Beavers' time, or about 4 to 5 days, closer to 15 days, I guess, in Beaver time here, that could have been used doing something else productively. Of course, it's all bots, so they didn't have anything better to do, but it still could have been more of an efficient build. I'll have to work on that in the future. And here's another point. Like, why did you put that in the position that you did? You knew that you were going to be building that system right there. Why did you put stuff, but it right up against the bad water flow, right? That was past me ruining super past me, or super past me ruining past me's potential build. So that was annoying, trying to clean up the mess that I had created for myself. But it's okay. It's okay. Lesson observed, hopefully, and not repeated. Or lesson observed and mistakes not repeated, question mark? One thing that I should have planned out a little bit, a bit more efficiently is the power movement from the actual system itself. I didn't really think of how I was going to maneuver the power over the bad water inlet and get it down to the colony as a whole. So that was something I had to do ad hoc, which was not the best. Again, it works. It's ugly, but it works, and that's what matters in the end, I guess. I'll accept it, and maybe that's something that I'll be able to come back in and help clean up a little bit so that nothing gets held up anywhere in the future. But that requires thought and planning. As you can tell, I didn't do that well in that regard when it came to these last minute portions of the build. Just throwing things in wherever I could to try to get it done, and well, that's not a smart way to do this kind of a build. Like, planning from the beginning and getting like a solid plan would have made things go so much smoother, especially on this latter half. And here's my mess of a power structure that I'm trying to put in. And of course, you know, the brain that goes brr is like, I need to go stare at things that don't need to be stared at right now. Fix the things that you need to be fixing right now. Like, that's gonna go in when it goes in. There's not much you can do about it. Focus on things that you need to focus on, like power transfer. That needs to be priority numero uno here for me. Thankfully, I do end up actually getting to it, so that's good, I guess, for the most part. It was about at this point that I had severe, if you will, senioritis. If just get it done, you know. And when you're encroaching on the last few semesters or the last quarter or two of high school, right? You're like, okay, I just want it done. Can we be done with school now? Can we be done with this entire build? The answer, of course, is no, because, well, you plan poorly and things aren't going to get accomplished very quickly. You didn't give good access points. You didn't give good places for them to do all the building, of course, so that just limits the amount of beavers that can go in and do the things. Which is why this portion right here is so slow, because I had just the district that had limited access to dirt trying to complete stuff on this side, as opposed to bringing in the primary district to actually complete the things. But it's okay. When they met up, when the two districts touched things started moving in the end, and I guess that's all that matters. Now this portion right here I was pretty excited about. Like the Beavers, when they had something like this to do, that came in like really super fast. Because it's like, okay, well, here's a bunch of things that we can all get together and complete. So the power system right there, it went in so fast, so quickly. I was stoked by it. Of course, it doesn't look pretty, again, because I didn't have a plan for where I was going to actually introduce the power into the system as a whole, which is, again, on me. I should have thought about that. But it's right here that I'm super excited. Okay, a few more blocks of dirt. We got this, guys. I believe in you. You can do it. Just throw in the last few little things. That's all you need to do. Get those last things of dirt in. I was just staring at it. I was willing the game to go faster. You know, I was having a Sonic X situation. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, you know. Just get it done. Which is not conducive to proper planning, because that's when you start making mistakes, start doing silly little things that probably aren't the best. But in the end, it got complete. So I'll take the minor W there, I guess. Here's where I get really excited. I start going, okay, we're good. There's enough dirt in. I've built this too high anyway. Might as well just get the water moving. The bad water can start flowing. We could start seeing some of this moving. Get all the power wheels flowing. See how things turn out. And there's your very ugly system to move all the bad water, and then here we go. Gonna start overflowing. And Ask Me will probably talk to a better way for the bad water to overflow into the systems, which will help maybe regulate or keep a consistent flow of power into the system as a whole. And maybe in the future I'll have to come in and do the terrible thing, water folding. But that's it. That's the build. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna let future me talk. I'm out. Have fun. Bye. 4.5 hours later. Here we are. But that was a bit more labor intensive than I should have anticipated, which I should have known the last time I did a mega build like this. And I probably did a little bit too much on this end. Didn't need to go that high, but the power's running. Should stabilize hopefully around 200 horsepower each. Hopefully. It looks like the water's flowing decently. Probably could pull this up one more notch here just so it, I don't know. That might help, that might not. I'm not entirely sure. But overall, pushing 30,000 units of horsepower. That should charge everything in eternity forever for these little guys. I will say, I wasn't anticipating a min drought, min temper cycle followed by a max drought, followed by a min temper cycle, followed by a max bad tide, followed by a min temper cycle, followed by a max bad tide. So we might run into a problem towards the end of this temperate cycle or bad tide. Some of this stuff may need to get replanted. Obviously, all of this had to be replanted, which stinks. But hopefully, with just running one pump, that should slow the draw of this water, keep things at a bare minimum so that things can stay hydrated, if you will. We'll see. But it's moving back into here. Water's flowing. It's moving around. Power's flowing now everywhere. It's not the prettiest as far as attaching this power system up to all this, but all of this can get torn out. Like, there's no need for any of this stuff over here anymore. so I can come over here, tear out all these stairs and everything, tear all of this system out, and then can help clean up some of this. This all needs a good cleanup now to make it all work, but I have to say, I'm pretty happy with that. I should not have undertaken this at the time that I did, but overall, I think we're in a good spot. We'll never have to worry about power again. We'll never have to worry about generating enough to do all of the things. We can keep pumping out planks. We can keep pumping out gears. We can keep pumping out our extract. We can do all the things. So, that being the case, fire these guys, get them back to doing productive things with their time. I'll leave those there just in case I need to burn or get some additional bodies back moving dirt. But I'll pause all of that stuff. No need for this to be over here, so this can all get paused. All of those aren't needed anymore. That's gonna be annoying, having all these showing that they don't have enough power. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna pause here. Maybe that should... You'll see during the playthrough of the entire go, I had to pause a lot just because of how slow the game was running while all of those dirt blocks were being put in, or having had those put in. The game just crawled to a standstill. It was mildly annoying, but it's okay. We got things moving and grooving. We got the things that we needed turned on. The things that we didn't need turned off. Now we can get stuff like this going again. And now we should never... I honestly think that we could probably turn off some of these, but I'll hold off on doing that. I don't want to press the test. It's still climbing a little bit, so we'll let that settle down eventually. Building needs water. That's this. This thing has been really annoying to watch constantly. I don't want to fill you up again. Each time I have to fill that up means it's going to take longer for this to fill up. And if you saw, I did not... Oh, and I forgot to raise this after the last bad tide, so that's on me. I'm thinking that I can tear this out now. There's no need for that to be in there anymore. Not directing any water, bad water, into this system, so having that like that should just make this stuff run that much faster. And it does. And look, it cleaned all that up super fast. Beautiful. So during bad tides, we'll have an additional, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000. Not too concerned about that. So that'll be awesome. I'm excited. I'm very excited with how this turned out. I'm not excited with how this is turning out. Can't seem to keep enough water in these systems. Keep everything going. I still need to get over here and finish planting all the rest of that stuff, but hey, it's all right. It's okay. We should be fine for another 18 days. Probably slow down the pumping on this end, or just let them pump it all out because, well, there's not much else I can do with it now other than pump it out. Otherwise, it's just going to evaporate. Probably throw in some more storage so that they can pump that out and not have any issues, so that we don't lose anything like that. But that's where we're at. I hope you guys enjoyed this very interesting time-lapse slash mega build with me. I had an absolute blast doing it. The wife isn't too happy about the fact that I spent 6 hours on this computer trying to do this time-lapse, but hey, I had fun, and hopefully you guys did too. Where we're at. You guys had a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Make sure you have a fantastic time. Make sure you keep yourself hydrated. Make sure your beavers are nice and hydrated, of course. And of course, stay thirsty, my friends. I'm out. See ya.